To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hello everyone and welcome to the WDW Fanboys Podcast.
Hello. Hi.
I'm Johnathen Hopkins. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Brett Bennett and Spencer Coleman.
Hello.
And today is February 23rd and this will be episode 204.
Wow.
I got nothing. I've just stalled out.
It's been such a weird week.
Yeah. We got one thing really this week. I mean, there's a couple things that are going on, but we had a question from Brandon that we'll get to in a minute, and I need to do, yes, I need to do my little spiel.
Do it.
Our show is sponsored by Pixie Vacations. Pixie Vacations is an authorized Disney travel agent. They offer fee-free bookings to Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Lines, and Adventures by Disney. You can find links to their website on our homepage, or you can call them directly at 678-815-1584. Okay, got through that. All right.
Thanks.
On to Brandon's question.
Brandon, you asked.
Yes. Hi guys, this is Brandon. I asked you guys a question back in October on which rides need to go. I want to thank you for putting that into the show. I have another question for you guys, and I hope to see this in your next podcast. I was reading online that Epcot hosted the Science Thrills live show for park guests at Epcot's Innovations West from February 17th to the 21st.
Was it in West?
I believe so. It was one of them.
It wasn't on the Sum of All Thrills side?
No.
Oh, no, it was on West.
Yeah. I was wondering if you guys got a chance to check it out. Also, does this bring you guys any hope in Epcot's refurbishing the Future World pavilions? I've also saw that Avatar broke ground at Animal Kingdom. On that note, what new lands would you one day like to see break ground, such as Star Wars or Pixar World in Hollywood Studios? It's actually MGM, but whatever. Thanks, guys. All right, the first question, as we're recording this, I actually went specifically because I got this question. I had actually forgot about it.
You have direct influence over Hopkins' life, Brandon.
Yes.
Never forget it.
Yes. If you ask me to go do something, I'll do it eventually. So I actually went to see the Science Thrills live show, and it was interesting. I mean, it wasn't anything big. I think it was like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
They had, but the three people that they had two guys and a girl. They actually are scientists. Like they had their names on their lab coats, and I looked them up, and they really are in their profession what they said they were. It's not they weren't CMs. Yeah. So they led you into one of the rooms, and they did these experiments. The first one they had 3 cylinders of different dyes, which they said was water in them. Then they poured dry ice into them, and they smoked up and everything. But what happened is they changed color and everything else, and the reason was because they're dye markers for like when they do experiments and that kind of stuff. They were talking about pH balances and base and acids and everything else. So it was kind of interesting because the whole thing was interesting because it showed kids that science can be fun and that kind of stuff.
I got a C in chemistry.
So it was kind of like it was kind of like Bill Nye how he did it.
But live.
And then they did another one where I forget the name of it, but they have these 2 hemispheres, these rubber things that are closed together, and then they had a kid come on stage and try to pull them apart, and it was easy because the inside air matched the outside air pressure, but then when they sucked the air out and created a vacuum inside the hemisphere, it took 6 people to pull it apart.
Weird.
So they were, basically discussing air pressures and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then the last one was they did the diet soda with Mentos. And which is cool because kids like what? Oh, they also did one with they did one with bubbles, and it was basically talking about the difference in air density and why the bubbles have a rainbow effect and everything else is because of the refraction of light and everything.
Was that the demo where they gave the kid the Mentos and then made him drink a Diet Coke?
No.
Pop Rocks and Cola?
And so
That's an urban legend.
So the last one was the Mentos experiment, and it shoots up and everything else, and but they explained why it happened, because on the Mentos it has all these little fissures that the carbon dioxide, or is it carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide,
something like that,
whatever's in pop that makes it fizz,
Dioxide.
And so they explained that. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it was hosted by Raytheon, which is kind of, does some of all thrills and everything else and does a lot of different science stuff.
Yes.
And so it was interesting. Now, is that going to create a widespread change across Epcot? I don't think so. It was just a neat little thing. It's kind of like the IBM Think Center.
I think it'd be cool if that would become a permanent thing. But like we see, it's only a week. But I'd like to see things like that come to interventions. Live science demonstration. That's kind of cool.
Epcot will do little changes here and there, but right now, World Showcase, Test Track, and Soarin' are carrying the park, and the attendance is not falling rapidly. It's not concerning anybody. So if they're going to put money into somewhere, it's in other parks where they see there's more of a need to possibly increase attendance.
Right. That was.
Yeah. Well, refurbishing Future World pavilions. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna really bring any hope to that. But like I said before, it's just a nice thing.
There's always
So when they add something little to one of the interventions, I really don't get my hopes up for anything long term or anything major being done outside of
It
interventions.
had some awesome things done to interventions that have just gone by the wayside.
Yeah,
You guys remember back probably mid to late 2000s, the plastic exhibit with the robots.
Oh,
where you build your own robots and then take the freaking robot home with the interchangeable plastic pieces. It's like the build your own drones at Hollywood Studios, but bigger, and it was free, and you could take it home.
Yep.
Do whatever you want. I think we had like 10 of them that we would just mix and match pieces all the time.
What they need to do is have like Bill Nye come in, or Mitsukashu, I think is how you spell his name, or Neil deGrasse, and do like a symposium type thing, or just talk to people. That would be cool. What?
I mean, it'd be limited time magic.
No, I mean, what's funny about it?
Well, no, I mean, it would be cool, but there's no way they could get a big name like that to do anything other than
why not?
Ellen's Energy Adventure. Because if they,
Bill Nye would do it.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah, but he's done that kind of stuff before.
Yeah,
I mean, money talks. I mean, they're gonna have to pay a speaker's fee, and that's the problem. Is
how much are they? Yeah, how much would they pay?
But even that's
how much are they paying for this? Raytheon's paying for these guys to be here.
Yeah.
Also, too, how often are they gonna do something like that? Yeah, it'd be a great idea, but what do they do it once, twice?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Even if they did it as a yearly thing, it's once a year.
Which I think goes along with the next part of the question that he had. Avatar broke ground in Animal Kingdom. What lands would you like to see? Get breakdown.
Anything.
Well, yeah. There's the Star Wars, Pixar. That's great. But for me, like, there was a thread on Facebook today that I kind of started the fire with. How Epcot used to be, because I was there today, and it was just depressing. A couple things I would like to see, new things. One, I don't know. This is all hypothetical, armchair imagineering, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where you would put it, what you would take out or whatever. But one of the cool things I think would be you could either do an Omni Mover or something, is have, great minds through history would be the pavilion. And you do, like, of course, you have to include Thomas Edison, but I think he's a hack. But like Nikola Tesla, and then go all the way through up into Neil deGrasse, Bill Nye, and everything else, and have
Ron Hubbard.
No, no. But have like have it like animatronic, kind of like World of Motion, where it showed the beginnings of the wheel and everything else, and kind of show the progress of different technologies or what they've done to contribute to the world.
Spaceship Earth.
But
Modernized.
I guess, yeah. But another one. I mean, because you had World of Motion, but
Spaceship Earth is just telecommunications.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many other
yeah.
avenues that they could do it, and they could actually just focus it on the inventors themselves.
Right, but I feel like if you do anything like that, it's going to turn into a hall of precedence. Oh, let's go listen to these dead guys talk.
Yeah,
it's really hard to do something like that where you're going to have a ride going through these different inventors' lives.
I would rather see it either as an Omni mover, which I don't think they'd ever do, but even as a walkthrough. Do it in Illuminations if you want. Use half of an Illuminations and have it a walkthrough, so it's like one small room size. Doesn't have to be an actual room. Illuminations.
Imagination.
Interventions.
Interventions. Okay.
Imagination.
Fireworks show.
Talk about imagination. So, anyways, they could just have it set up and just have the area of maybe a large closet or a small room dedicated to each inventor, and just go through and talk about what they did. Have some of their designs, like the Wright brothers have flying airplanes.
Yeah.
Use the Turtle Talk with Crush.
No,
technology with animatronics.
Older stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could. I think it would be interesting because there's a lot of things that these people have done that most people don't even realize.
Right.
And it's educational, but you could do it in a fun way.
How many people had no idea what Tesla accomplished until the internet came out and all of the facts came to light?
I'm telling you, you go past a guy sitting in like the room would be Nikola Tesla, like that famous picture that you show of him just sitting in a room thinking, and this big Tesla coil goes on. You drive past that in an Omnimover, I don't care. A kid's gonna think that's cool.
Oh yeah.
You can do it. Like I said, you can do education and you can do it in a fun way. Yeah. Like Bill and I had a show for 8 years of education, but it was fun and interesting. I think that's kind of the core value that I would like to see Epcot go back into.
Well, looking at it from an education stance, I'm guessing in the 80s, Epcot was probably a popular destination for local Florida schools for field trips.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I don't see it being that so much anymore.
No,
maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if I was in charge of a school, I'd be like, you know what? No, we're gonna take you somewhere a little bit more educational, museum, something else. Turn Future World of Epcot back into something that schools would like to use as a field trip destination.
Right.
I'm not saying make it totally a field trip destination, but make it more like it was in the 80s, where it was by default a popular destination.
Right. And then for like another one for prime example, Wonders of Life Pavilion. If you want to stay with the whole medical thing, this is where it would get controversial. But you could do, again, either an Omnimover, some kind of cool thing.
Evolution.
Not evolution, but like talk about the new sciences, like in genetics or, DNA and that
Bring
kind of stuff.
cadavers and do autopsies.
See, I feel like something like that, that would be the downfall of the Wonders of Life Pavilion again, by making a ride around that you couldn't constantly update. Something like that would have to be a show. Anything that has to do with new technology would have to be a show, and that was the downfall of the original Epcot Center. Like Horizons, showing futures that couldn't really be changed without a complete overhaul of the ride, and that's where its downfall was in 1999 when it got the can.
Right, and again, the problem is with all these attractions, it's partly Disney, but it's also partly us. We just stopped going to them. I mean, you see videos later on in the lives of World of Motion and Horizons where people are just walking onto it. Like, there's no one on the ride. Well, and I get that.
Like, for what you're saying, even Spaceship Earth, the final scene is now a tribute to the people that made leaps and bounds in technology communications. So it's not even how it was before, where it was showing something in the future 10 to 20 years away.
Yeah.
They're not doing that anymore. They just did the default.
Like when they
probably never changed.
Was it Spaceship Earth that would talk about fiber optics? You know,
right.
like that was the new thing.
And then like Horizons, it would show video conferencing and video.
Which I still think that if we still had those attractions, you could have updated those.
Of course.
You know,
that costs way too much money though.
Like World of Motion now, you could show the X. What is it called? The new rocket that they have that's Virgin's space shuttle.
Consumer rocket.
Yeah. consumer space travel and everything else.
And that's the thing you mentioned, with the World of Motion was still around today. The consumers that go to Disney World anymore, they don't want to learn, which is another thing. No. You turn World of Motion into Test Track, so many more people go on that ride because they want to go on that. You'll hardly see a day when it's under an hour wait for Test Track, and that'll be the very slow season when you see it under an hour.
But I also think too, like, no one wanted. I don't think anyone came down to Epcot when they built it and was like, "Oh, this is exactly what I wanted." But you fell in love with it.
Right, but that's
like, Disney gave you something. It's kind of like, I look at Epcot as a lot like Apple. You don't ask for it, but they give it to you, and you're like, it's not that bad. When
you've got all the theme parks to choose from. Look at the new rides that are popping up all over the place. They're all throw rides.
Yeah.
This one's the tallest one ever. This one's going to be the fastest one ever.
Yeah.
This one here, it's the suicide coaster to kill you, so you don't have to worry about what's coming next. I don't want to say just kids, but it seems like generations now are looking forward to that. And when families go, you'll have the adults that are used to growing up with everything we've grown up with that'll bring their kids here. The kids will like it, but in their minds, they want more of the throw rides.
Right. It's very much, we're in a society now where it's 150 characters of information, and that's what
Instant
we want.
Gratification,
and we want it right now.
Yeah.
So, and I grant it, it's with the changing times, but I still think that there's hope that, because I tell you, man, I love going on YouTube and just watching 8 hours of Neil deGrasse talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was some way you could purvey that into an attraction.
But see, that's what we grew up on. We enjoy that knowledge. And there's a lot more people that are from our generation that enjoy that knowledge. Like you said, nowadays, the kids, if they're not... We never had ADD and ADHD back when we were kids.
Right, we had a belt.
Right. But also, too, is the kids have it nowadays because they're not used to going more than 12 seconds without something entertaining them. I can remember driving up here with my ex-wife and son, and the first few years was fine. He'd just keep himself occupied. But then when technology came out, he wanted his games. And I can't count how many times we'll be driving, and we yell, "Oh, my God, look at that." And by the time we were already almost past it, he would look. He'd get all excited, but it was already gone. Right, we passed it. He didn't see it, and he was pissed because he missed it.
Yeah, like the drive down here when I was a kid, we played, car bingo or something like that. I didn't have I didn't have an iPad or anything like that. So you're finding your own way to visually stimulate yourself.
Yep.
And so, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I do computers and that kind of stuff, and I like instant gratification. I'll sit there and think about something, and I'm like, oh, I can whip out my iPhone and look it up. But I think there is a balance that they could find when it comes to Epcot. Now, moving on to like MK, I think Tomorrowland could do a really cool refurb, like a steampunk, and not like the really cliche steampunk, but like a futuristic type thing, or something that you could change it into, that it doesn't have to be set on something that would be in the future for real. You can make it like a faux pas future.
I feel like they just croned a lot of things that would go better.
Well, like they had when they first built Futureland, they were guessing. Tomorrowland. They were guessing on a lot of the things.
Would you say Future World, Tomorrow World?
Future
World. You said Future something. I said
Future World.
You said Futureland. He said Tomorrow. You said Futureland. He said Tomorrow World.
I've never been
Tomorrowland.
Well, we're renaming it. That's what we're gonna do.
That's right.
Not very far.
Land of the Future.
Yes.
See, I'm just jumping ahead to renaming it. You're gonna see that name come out.
Land Before Time.
There we go.
We could have that at Animal Kingdom.
Ducky. What is it? Star?
Called Universe of Energy.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyways, when they first built Tomorrowland and Disneyland and in Disney World, a lot of it was stuff that it was science fiction in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Monsanto's House of the Future.
Yeah. I remember those.
So, but that, like, you watch those videos now, and I still think that stuff is kind of cool. Like, I still think I think you could do that. And again, the problem is all these companies have the internet. They don't need to dump money into,
physical theme park.
Physical theme park things, yeah. I mean, unless Coke or Brownie's going to sponsor it, you know.
Right.
I would like to see in Western Land.
Western Land.
I really would like to see maybe. I hate to say this. I like both of them, but take out Big Thunder, take out Splash Mountain, and put in Big Thunder Mesa. But like you could do a combination of
Western River expansion.
Yeah, you could do a combination. I was thinking about this of a water ride that turns into a roller coaster, like a mine ride. You know, because they have that technology where you know it could float along, and then at a certain point it goes up in a track, and you go through mine shafts and everything else, and they could kind of do it, but you know, take up that area or even go past the berm of the railroad and do something cool. You know,
right? It's never gonna happen. I know it's wishful thinking.
Yeah,
but then you'd have so many people. Oh, Splash Mountain's my favorite. Thunder Mountain's my favorite.
Yeah. The also other problem too is you
Thunder
have something
nobody's favorite.
That giant. You know, when that goes down,
of course, that'd be 10 years.
A killer.
That'd be a 10-year project.
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
Avatar again. As far as Animal Kingdom, I'm happy because I'm getting a water boat ride.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just happy we get more stuff to walk around.
Of course.
Yeah.
And do.
Yeah.
I just want to point out real quick before we get too far into the Avatar Land project. You were talking about, we're talking about Avatar Land now, and you were saying, take out Splash Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain. All the areas that Disney's made progress in the last 5 years, I want you to take out and look at it. You've had Toontown Fair, which is a walk-around attraction. There was the Barnstormer. That was it.
Yeah.
Taken out, done. Barnstormer was reused, but there was nothing big attraction-wise that they've taken out. Yeah. Now you have New Fantasyland.
Yeah.
That's what's there now, and that's perfectly good. They added a couple attractions.
Yeah.
But now you have Avatar Land. What did they take out? Camp Mini Mickey.
Yeah.
Meet and greets.
Yeah.
One show.
Else if they want.
Exactly. Like they did with the Festival of the Lion King. They moved that theater. Yeah. That was it. But we haven't seen any demolition of major attractions to make way for new ones.
Right.
Minus Snow White Scary Adventures. Exactly. Because they don't have to.
I think...
And we're not going to see any other big attractions go away.
Am I wrong?
Moderately successful.
Am I wrong that Horizons is still the only building where they actually destroyed the whole show building to build a new attraction?
I can't think of
I can't think of anything else that they've done that too.
I mean, they gutted Snow White's Scary Adventures.
Yeah, but they didn't
actually
they gutted, but they didn't destroy the whole building. Yeah, same thing with Mr. Toad.
And besides, like, as of right now, I think Winnie the Pooh is the only carnival type of attraction left. Right. Snow White was the other one. Now that one's gone. But Winnie the Pooh is huge with kids and even adults. I hear when they ride it through it and haven't ridden through it for years, or it's their first time, they enjoy it.
Winnie the Pooh, as basic as that is, without any really major audio animatronics, it's an enjoyable ride.
Right. The wait wasn't so long.
Yeah. Same thing with Peter Pan.
Of course. Time or go late at night.
And the thing is you don't actually need... I love Omnimovers with audio animatronics. But, like Haunted Mansion, if you really think about it, Haunted Mansion's not that advanced.
Yeah, it is. Simple as hell.
It's really simple how they do the tech on that. And I think that's the other part when they build these attractions and they got all these ideas. And they're really awesome ideas. There's some stuff that's done really well. I think it's also the same thing where too much CGI in a movie ruins it. You've got to find that creative balance now, which when CGI first got really popular and started getting cheaper, everyone used it for everything stupid. And now directors are starting to say, well, let's use it when we need it. Let's try to do everything as practical as we can. I think you could do that with attractions. There's a happy medium of... I think some people like very simple stuff, and some people like something that's really cool, and new and exciting and everything else. And I think you could still do that. Now, when it comes to like taking out attractions and everything, I have no problem with them taking out something that I love, as long as they put something back that's equally as good or respectful to what was there.
Right.
Also, too, is if they have to.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have... Walt Disney World has enough land in all the parks that they could add on without taking away if they didn't have to.
Oh.
Snow White's Scary Adventures, I understand they want to keep it in Fantasyland. There's not a lot of room in Fantasyland that they could have put it elsewhere, but even so, if they really tried, they may have.
On the flip side,
sense.
we got the mine ride that's going to be opening up, and I know it's taken 8 years to open it, and, but from what it's not going to be Big Thunder Mountain, but I still say it's from what's coming along with it. It looks gorgeous.
It looks awesome, and I got to tell you, seeing the videos of the minecarts going through and hearing how they're going to move, I think it's going to be a slightly small-scale version of Big Thunder.
I just hope that when you're inside, like the audio animatronics, I hope they don't zip past. I hope it's where they slow you down enough to where you can look around.
There's times on Big Thunder that you'll realize that you're going pretty dang slow, especially I think it's the last lift hill.
Yeah.
Especially you're going pretty slow on that, and then when you actually get over the hill, you're not moving at all.
Yeah. You're only going, I think, 23 miles per hour on that whole ride. Yeah. So, same thing with Space Mountain, but I still, I get that thing is getting rougher, man. There's a part on Space Mountain now. If you're on the fast
the trim brakes, Hopkins.
Yeah, the trim brakes.
You so fat you broke them.
It makes this loud clang every time you drive past it.
I did that before the trim brakes.
Did it? I noticed when you're
going up and you hit that hill like that.
No, like towards the end, and there's that loud smack.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it freaks me out every time.
It's pretty freaky.
But
thought something fell. It sounds like a cell phone dropped or something and smashed on the ground.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
But every time.
Yeah.
Again, like Hollywood Studios, we know. I mean, if they don't do a Star Wars or expansion on Pixar, that's really the only things that I care about going in there.
Yeah.
I'd even like the small scale version of Cars Land.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you need to do.
I want the Hollywood houses back. I want the home improvement set back.
I've seen so many pictures of the scenery of Cars Land, where you've got the different sources of flows and the Cone Hotel, and seeing that during the day is awesome, and seeing it at night with all the neon is phenomenal as well.
Right. My whole thing is I don't want a carbon copy of what's at DCA.
Right. But I feel there's so many movies.
There's so many
that you could.
There's so many movies from Pixar plays, or Pixar that you could pull from.
Yeah, exactly, and that you can pull a whole land, literally Cars Land at DCA. They took the entire town and recreated it.
Yeah.
You could do that.
How many different things you could do that with?
It was a recreation. I would.
How many things could you do with that?
I mean, you could do Monstropolis.
Exactly, that would be impressive.
Yeah, or even Toy Story.
Right.
Like what's his face's Toy Barn?
Al's Toy Barn. Yeah.
Al's Toy Barn.
That'd be easy. Build a toy store.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be like a gift shop or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like that happened with with Cars Land. That's very cool that they just recreated it. Harry Potter, Universal's done the same thing. Took the entire village of Hogsmeade and now the entire Diagon Alley and plopped it out directly from the movie, using the movies as all the examples and plopping it right into a theme park. And I feel like we could do that easily.
I still
with just the right amount of thought.
I think there is a lot of Imagineers that do have imagination and do have really good ideas. And I think a lot of the problems is, I think, prime example, Mermaid. Little Mermaid here, it's a prime example of you've got really great Imagineers, and then you've got financial people that are saying, okay, this is great, but you're at this budget right now, you're going to have to cut something.
And they're not.
I will say
they're not Roy Disney. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not going to find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
They're just going to tell you not to.
I will say they're probably pretty ticked they didn't make it flame retardant.
Yeah. You didn't see that the roof caught on fire from fallout from the fireworks in the past week.
But my big argument with Mermaid is looking up at the ceiling and seeing
see
stuff.
The catwalk. See the disco ball hanging from the ceiling.
I hate to be one of those guys that's like, Walt would have. I seriously, Walt was a perfectionist. He would have walked through that and said, that needs to be changed.
Of course he would have.
I feel like
anybody with an ounce of self-respect making a ride would say, people are going to look up, especially when you're at a very slight incline and you can see way ahead to the turnaround. a little bit more into the ride, you can see
Right.
the roof. And then when you see that, you're going to look at the rest of the roof to see what else you can see. And again, yeah, the kids aren't going to care, but it's not all just kids. There's plenty of adults that ride.
Right. And I feel like
the thing is it doesn't matter about kids. It's just bad show all around.
Of course.
And that's part of the 4 keys that's Disney's motto.
Right.
You know, show, safety, and 2 others I can't remember.
Safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency.
Yeah.
That will correct order that they're in.
I mean, if
But,
anything, they could have put a white ceiling up and painted it so it looked like you were looking up under the ocean.
They had the same problem with Soarin', you know, it's a screen, but you don't want people to feel like they're looking at a screen.
Right.
So they made a bigger overhang on the hang gliders themselves.
Yeah.
You could have extended the clamshell to make it go a little bit over, so you couldn't just look directly up and see the roof. I mean, you could have stuck your head out a little bit, just like you can on Soarin'.
Well, the thing, if you're going to deliberately do it, then that's your problem.
Right.
What I notice is even older attractions like Pirates or Haunted Mansion, anytime they've come in later in, if you take the original attraction and when they come in and change something, whenever they change something or they add a light or everything, they're not hiding it anymore.
Right.
Like Pirates, look at the ceiling of Pirates. That sucker's painted. Like, everything's hidden.
It's ceiling tiles. Painted.
Right. But like when you look at Jack Sparrow, anytime they've popped in a Jack Sparrow, they had to put lights up so you could see him. But if you turn that way where the lights are, you see him. Mm-hmm. Now, if it was originally built that way, those lights would have been hidden somehow. Or camouflage, or some way they would have figured out to what... Because it's that minute attention to detail that what makes Disney Disney. And that's where I get frustrated that there's attention to detail on certain things, but it's not attention to detail on everything. Like... and that's where I get upset with the old Epcot attractions. When those things were built, I mean, everything was taken into consideration when they built them. And they, a lot of those attractions were built on a shoestring budget, but they still got them done. They didn't affect show because of cost.
Right.
If they couldn't do it, they figured out a different way to meet within their budget.
But that's going back to the people you have working for Disney.
Yep.
You had people working for Disney, whether it be Walt Disney or one of the other many, many people that felt the exact same way he did and helped him get things to where they were when he opened up the parks. They cared. They walked around and they bred people to believe, follow, and feel pretty much the same way that they did. But over the years, it just started to decline gradually, and here we are 30, 40 years later, and we've got people...
Walt has been gone 48 years now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point where they don't care as much as they did. And yeah, every now and then you get someone who does care. It's somewhat of a similar scale that maybe Walt did more than some other people, but there are other ones that just come in and they say, hey, I just got this outstanding job that paid me a ton of money to come in and get these things done. I'm going to get them done. And then when I'm done, I really don't care.
I think the Imagineers, I think they do care. Garner Holt, who is not WED, it's a separate company. I think they've got that kind of spirit on how to build a good animatronic and give really good detail and good show quality. I think a lot of it is we are no longer with a Walt company. It's a shareholder company. And so it's a lot of pencil pushers that say, here's your budget, deal with it.
I wonder if they said, okay, we're going to do this attraction. And they completely gave it to Garner Holt. And they said, look, this is your budget, but we trust you to do this attraction from start to finish. And no second guessing, no going through too many cooks, no going through too many management approvals, no changes, nobody coming in as they're 90% done saying, no, that's all wrong, you need to change it all. Garner Holt, we trust you. You've worked with us for decades. We want you to build this whole attraction. Here's the layout of what we want, but you can take it and run with it. I'm wondering if it would be like the attractions of the old days.
I think so, but I also, even taking Garner Holt out of it, look at Disney Seas. Disney Seas is a prime example. Of course, I haven't been out there, but that is a prime example of you give Imagineers unlimited amounts of money because it's not
you give a third party unlimited amounts of money.
And they're going to run with it and create some awesome stuff. Mystic Point at Hong Kong is a prime example of true Disney Imagineering. They took a concept they took something out of thin air and made an attraction. That's kind of what I want.
And Garner Holt.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see... Disney doesn't even have to pull something out of a movie that they made.
Of course, no.
You know, Pirates was never a movie, you know?
Yeah.
Except for if you ask some people, they're like, oh, yeah, look, they made an attraction about the movie. You know, you can make things out of thin air.
First time button.
And that's where I kind of... I will be...
There's an unwritten rule that you're allowed to punch those people, but you didn't know that.
I know
Whoa.
I know that they're pulling Avatar attractions from a movie, but their concepts are probably a lot of things that are just thin air. Like, you know, they've got to they're within the basis of realm of Pandora, but they're going to have to make something really cool that we haven't seen before, or take something from the screen and make it tangible.
Right.
You know, so that'll be interesting. So anyways, yeah. You guys got anything else on that, or
No.
pretty much it?
Nope, pretty much it.
I think that's about it. Downtown Disney parking lot, coming along, parking structures.
Yeah.
First level down, they're starting the ramp to the next level.
Okay.
I can see it. They haven't really released any plans yet on it, but I can only see it as a 3-level parking garage. You have the base level, the middle level, and then there's just the roof level.
Yeah,
That's what it
be
seems
too
like.
high.
It's not going to be tall.
Yeah, because the support structures aren't
Of course, yeah.
that
But
big.
even that'll triple the parking.
Yeah.
Just like that. Boom. Done.
Well, not quite, because the area that the garage is going to take up is going to eliminate some space.
A little bit,
not
but
a ton.
nearly
At
triple.
least double, if not more.
Did I hear that they were like 3,000 spot parking garages
I'm not sure.
each? Well, they're going to build another one too.
Of course, yeah, there's 2.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I'd say, at
Now
least
is
2.5%.
that going to be on the
250
west
We don't-
side?
Yeah, we don't know.
Is that going to be on the west side?
Well,
Near...
that's where we thought the first one was going to be. But
Okay, yeah.
I'm assuming they're going to make the other one on the... They have to make the other one on the marketplace side. They can't have 2 right next to each other like
I
that.
actually initially heard before they even broke ground was there was going to be the first one where it is, and the second was going to be on the west side.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And that makes sense
And-
because way off to the west side where you have to actually park now.
Far, but nobody's parking there
and
except
they're
cast
also-
members.
It's not
And
really that
here's-
far because when all the times I've parked there,
Yeah.
it's less than a 2-minute walk to get to
Cirque.
Disney Quest, House
Yeah.
of Blues, and Cirque du Soleil. And they put
I
that's
hardly
where
ever
the
go
trucks
on that
were.
side.
They've got a couple of trucks there, so I
Well-
mean that'd be good for them trying to increase the traffic to the west
Yeah,
side.
that's
if
true.
They have to.
I went to Downtown Disney yesterday, and they had 2 food trucks. They had the Animal Kingdom one, and then the one with the Disneyland corn dogs. And they were in between World of Disney and Basin right there.
Okay.
Did you see in
On the-
between
way on the marketplace
in
side.
between AMC and Planet Hollywood,
No, I haven't
the
been.
fountain? I don't know if they removed it, but it's been covered with a stage.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's a
Oh.
temporary stage because it looks like it would be
Yeah.
removed, and they've got the
Sitar guy?
different acts. Yeah, they've got
Yeah.
that guy
And,
and another guy, the guy with the electric harp.
Uh-huh.
They're playing there, and it's actually a pretty good setup because it allows people to watch him without being in the way of
Yeah.
everyone else.
It's nice.
That was smart, whoever thought of that one. Good job.
Yeah, they.
Starbucks coming along.
No.
Downtown Disney.
No.
Well, both
Holy
of them.
crap. The one that took over Wetzel's Pretzels,
Yeah.
it's still the same frame that was there
Yeah.
freaking a month and a half ago. I was
was
walking
gonna
by
say,
last night. I'm like,
they
where the
start-
hell is taking them so long?
The
Where's my
water one's
coffee?
starting to go up. A couple beams have
Where's
started to
my
go up
coffee?
above the construction walls.
The second one is going to be in front of
World of Disney.
World of Disney.
Literally attached to World of Disney.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see.
Starbucks
Yeah.
is going to be attached to World
It's on
Disney.
the right on
Yeah.
the front
Really?
side.
Yeah, right by Bibbidi Bob.
in between the Cinderella entrance and the other
Yeah.
one right there with the Mickey Mouse and
Ah.
the big air balloon thing.
Wow. So
Uh,
much for getting in the shop without a Starbucks.
Exactly.
I also heard too
It's
that
going to be huge.
there's going to be walkways to go over to cast member parking
That's a good
Cast member
idea.
parking like
on the other
On the
side.
other side of the street.
Like
a
casting.
Hess
and everything.
station, behind the Hess station.
No, like going over the drive
Where
in
you have
front
to
of
park,
downtown Disney.
where you have to
Yeah.
park now for
Instead-
overflow parking.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. The casting lot.
Yeah, so
Team
they don't
Disney lot.
to kind of cut down on people crossing over on the actual road.
Yeah.
Interesting, because they have the big cast member lot is behind the Hess station right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
That'd be
They like
a
to
good idea.
They like to hide Hess station or cast member parking behind Hess station. Downtown
Yeah.
Disney one and the boardwalk parking is behind the Hess
Yeah.
station.
So that would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Hess by Epcot in Hollywood Studios.
Yep.
And I was looking at that and I was like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, okay, it's parking of some sort, but they got all kinds of crap in it.
I'm the mayor of that Hess.
Yeah, I know. I'd seen that. And I was
I'm
like,
also the mayor. I'm also the mayor of Jelly Rolls, and I'm the mayor of Tattooing Traders at Hollywood Studios.
Great.
Go check in 9 days in a row, and you'll be the mayor of Tattooing Traders.
I'm going to do that now. From here.
I know. That's the thing. I passed by Jelly Rolls earlier today, and I checked in.
Like, I can see it counts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So minecart coaster's coming along. Looks
Yeah,
like,
very near.
Maybe, I wouldn't say right on schedule, but fairly close to schedule. Maybe a little bit after what
was it?
They're starting inviting people to the beginning of May, inviting press, right?
Yeah,
like the first week of May.
No. I thought it was April 30th.
Really?
Was save the date that
close enough.
Inside the Magic got.
Yeah, I think that's what Ricky
invite.
said.
I didn't get my invite, so I don't know.
Mine's being engraved, so
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the engraver.
Whatever. I'll just keep saying that we got pressed IAPA. That's close enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
So, thank you for the question, and
See you next week.
see you next week, and talk to you later.
Epcot Food and Wine, I think, has been added a week.
Oh, yes. Extended a week before, which is surprising.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
extended Food and Wine a week before.
Yeah.
As if they didn't have enough on their plates trying to get it open in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Extended a week before. Perfect. But
Why
yeah,
not?
unprecedented event. But yeah, next week, hopefully, we'll have Philip Swift.
Yes.
Was he director or is he producer of Bubble, the celebration documentary?
Yeah, he made it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he made it himself.
Yeah, which was funny because he added me as a friend,
Yeah.
and I never made the connection.
Who's this guy with the beard?
And then he keeps talking about the movie. I'm like, that's a really awesome movie. And he kept saying thanks. I'm like, then I looked up the movie. I'm like, oh, you freaking made it. I'm like, I feel like
Yeah.
an idiot.
So yeah, stay tuned. It'll be fun. Talk about swingers, talk about celebration, talk about everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go watch it if you haven't yet. Is it free online?
Because
No,
No, it isn't. Okay.
It's not free online.
My apologies.
But it is actually cheap. It's on, like, I think
Video on
Amazon's
demand, yeah.
store.
Yeah.
And we'll have links
watch
next
it.
week in the show notes for that and everything else.
Of course,
but
yeah.
Because of that movie, it is my new hangout at night.
Celebration.
Jeez, makes it
All right.
Borat or something.
Have a good weekend.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
And that was the time when we dance.
Well, it looks like that'll be it for this week's episode. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can send us a message using our Contact Us link on our homepage, or you can send us an email directly at questions@WDWFanboys.com. If you'd like to help us promote the show, every post on our page offers a one-click link to Facebook and Twitter. Just click the links on our site to let your friends know that you enjoy our podcasts and blog posts. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WDW Fanboys, or join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/WDW Fanboys. And while you're at it, head over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. And remember, if you're shopping on Amazon.com, don't forget to navigate to our Amazon links on our homepage. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help us out because every purchase you make through our links lets us receive a portion of your purchase price, which in turn helps improve show content and helps with running costs. And remember, if you do spend more than $1,000 worth of merchandise in a 12-month period, let us know, and we'll send you a free Fanboys t-shirt. Have a good one. Don't forget to join us again next week.